Let's go now. A little life out here. What the hell's going on out here? Hey, what about that now?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the UK Packers podcast. As usual, I'm your host at SDDDNFL on Twitter, and of course, follow the group at UK Packers. And it's quick slippage for your big bagage. You doing it? Oh, yeah. Let me hold on. Yeah, dirty LT. It's quick snaps. So it's a quick and snappy episode. The intro takes a minute, so we've 9 minutes really to run through it. This is a divisional game, so anything that I do say after this point, take it with a grain of salt, right? Because divisional games always kind of go a bit bonkers, and we've 3 divisional games in a row now, so this stretch is very important. So we've got this game against the Vikings, we've got the Lions on Thanksgiving, which is a short stretch. But again, like Matt LaFleur likes to say, we're dealing with it, but the other teams are dealing with it as well. But this is really pivotal, and actually this could really go our way if we dispatch the Vikings, which we're favourites to do, and the Steelers dispatch the Bears, which they're inclined to want to do. I mean, Aaron Rodgers owns that franchise, right? And he's going to continue to do it with Pittsburgh. And then the Lions go up against the Giants, and in a shock, end up losing, and then we go, oh, maybe the Giants weren't so bad. No, that's not really happening. But quick question: the Lions were held by the Eagles to a really low score and lost that game. So are we saying Dan Campbell then should be sacked? Is that the narrative? I don't see it out there. Maybe people are saying it, but I don't see it. What a load of nonsense. I did get a slight giggle from the fact that everyone was going crazy about McManus and, Havrisik, and then Havrisik comes out and misses 2 extra points. What do we know? I'm not saying I know more than anybody else, and that I'm different, you know what I mean? I do this, if you will. But you simply don't know the way things are going to go. And I know there was that whole narrative, well, the wind was whipping up for those extra points. No, you kick extra points if you're a kicker. So where do we find ourselves, and why is that relevant, and why am I even raising it? Well, here we are. Here's a guy in this Vikings game where we're at flux at kicker. God knows what's going to happen. And Lambeau is a very unique place to kick because the wind does be whipping up down there. You can see it in the flag. So it's not an easy place to kick, particularly as the weather starts to get worse and it's getting pretty chilly. So that'll be a problem. Do you know what this is, though? It's the Vikings and Packers looking at each other doing Spider-Man meme. For the most part, there's certain areas where we way exceed them, which is the reason why we should win this game. But there's other areas where we're very, very similar. So the Vikings defense is not a bad defense, but they haven't been covering themselves in glory this season. One of the things they had, a bajillion, don't look it up. Haven't said that one for a while. Just don't look it up. They had loads of interceptions last season, and they've got barely any. They've got less than the Packers actually this season, which is kind of strange, right? And they brought in extra pass rushers and run stuffers, and you'd expect them to be sort of better and getting more pressure up front and all that kind of jazz. But it just hasn't translated into interception. That's very like what the Packers are doing. We keep people to a low score. Our defensive backs are generally good. I mean, we can make some outstanding plays. And then last week was just a calamity of errors. Just 4 dropped interceptions. Some of them more clear-cut than the other. Eventually, we do come away with one. So what does that mean? It means we're coming up against a highly capable defense who blitz more than any other team in the NFL. I think they blitzed Caleb Williams between 45 to 50% of all dropbacks. So they're going to be a bit of a headache for Jordan Love, which is not going to go well when blitzes work against stacking the box, and if you're going to run against the blitz. And do we have Josh Jacobson there? No, he's truly day-to-day now. There was good news that came out today, if you can call it that he was out doing team drills. He wasn't doing ball protection stuff, but he was out there sort of getting busy. And with a knee injury, that'd be seen to be positive, I guess, the fact that he can run on it. But Matt LaFleur says he's I love the way they do it as well. But he's genuinely day-to-day. We say that about other people, but we mean it about Josh Jacobs. So that could mean we have Emmanuel Wilson in there. And I'm high on him. I think he's great. But certainly against the blitz, he's going to be able to have to pick up those blitz packages. And that's why I think we see an awful lot of Chris Brooks out there. He's outstanding blocker. So I think we're going to see a healthy dose of him. I reckon the Packers will lean into the pass game, quick passes to beat the blitz. But that all depends on who's not injured at wide receiver, which appears to be absolutely everybody. The common sense thing would say is to lean on Christian Watson, but do you make your offense kind of one-sided? Now, if there's anyone to lean into, it's Christian Watson. And what I would say is I would imagine that game against the Giants is an outlier, right? Where you're dropping 4 out of 5 interceptions, where you're dropping every pass that came your way. Luke Musgrave spent more time dropping the ball than catching the ball. It's kind of bizarre, but the key to us not winning this game is obviously harking back to special teams and not kicking the points when we need them, or being forced into a situation where you don't trust your kicker, so you have to go and go for it in situations where you would ordinarily take the points. And then the fact that they blitz and they disguise their defense really well. Brian Flores is absolutely outstanding as a defensive coordinator. He gives everybody hassle, including Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to disguise an awful lot of stuff. And when he has that sort of ace in his back pocket as, are we going to rush 5 or are we going to drop deep? You don't really know until the ball is snapped exactly what's going on. So they're very opportunistic. And I would imagine that when you have a defense that actually are as talented as the Vikings and they haven't come away with many interceptions, it's not a case of if, it's when. So I think they will turn it around in games and they will come away with interceptions. Again, very like the Packers defense, where we're getting good pressure up front, but the lads in the back end just aren't coming down with interceptions. Now, the one place this game is going to be won is against JJ McCarthy, who has been the worst quarterback in the NFL since he took over the starting role with the Vikings, which is just bonkers that they let themselves get into this position, to be honest with you, because they had Sam Darnold, who was going through this absolute peak period, and then they end up sort of falling down to where they are now. But I think the stat that I read or heard, because I was listening to Vikings podcast, may you have mercy on my soul, is that JJ McCarthy did not complete a pass in the first 3 quarters of that game against the Bears. Which goes to show you one of two things, that they were still in it, and then, this is what I'm talking about, Spider-Man meme, on special teams, they let the Bears have a nearly 60-yard run back, and that ended up them kicking the game-winning field goal to seal that game. So they're poor on special teams in that regard, but they're much better at kicking. And you'd sort of go, oh, well, they were still in it then, obviously. That was good on their defensive side of the ball to keep that score down. And JJ McCarthy managed to actually, you know what I mean? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? So he managed to throw a touchdown, but he's really off. The scary part about the Vikings offense is that JJ McCarthy is surrounded by top-level talent. You don't need to go past Justin Jefferson to prove that, but they've got way more playmakers on their squad. Aaron Jones is in there, running back. Mason's also there. He's almost seen as the sort of running back number 1. TJ Hawkinson, a tight end. Jordan Addison, who really stuck it to the Packers a good few times. Jalen Naylor. Adam Thielen's dropped off, but they've loads of playmakers, and with Aaron Jones being a fantastic pass catcher as well, amazing. So he has all the talent around him. He's just not using it. And the one thing that you want to do with a quarterback like this is you want a heavy dose of the run. And when you look at the 2 running backs that they have in Aaron Jones and in Jordan Mason, really healthy average yards per carry in the game against the Bears. Aaron Jones, 16 carries for 70 yards for a 4.4 average, and we're well used to that with him being in Green Bay, getting that over 5 yards per carry. And then Jordan Mason, who kind of took over the running duties when Jones was injured, only 6 carries for 45 yards, but a 7.5 total and a touchdown. So they're no slouches. So when you have a JJ McCarthy that's misfiring, what you're going to have is a healthy dose of the run, and then also you're kind of dumbing down that offense. And the number one target should be for a quarterback in his position is the tight end, and with TJ Hawkinson, he's an elite player. So, he's going to get his targets. The problem with JJ McCarthy is he's so inaccurate. And again, he makes bad decisions. So he throws the ball into double and triple coverage. He underthrows it, overthrows it. And it's really bad. I mean, the Vikings were out booing their own team last week. They're really good at field goal kicking. So you would imagine that, if they get the chance to get it into field goal kicking range, they will. with Will Rijkaard. I think he's only missed maybe 2 on the year. So he's extremely good. So we have to stop them obviously doing that and killing us, but death by 1,000 field goals. But look, we're at home in Lambeau. We should get that boost from the home crowd as long as they don't go and sell all their tickets to the Vikings supporters. And this is a game that you would tip the Packers to win. Now, if they do and the Bears lose against the Steelers, doesn't matter what the Lions do, the Packers will move from second up to first in the division. And again, if you're new to this, all that really counts is your record in the division, and particularly against your division opponents. And if you're on equal wins, well, then you get that sort of tiebreaker. So that's really important. So the next 3 games for the Packers are absolutely pivotal, and will sort of put the Packers on a good trajectory to get to the playoffs, being one of the top winning teams. And you really want to do it with home field advantage by topping your group. And that's what we're going after here. So the spread, I believe, is between minus 3.5 to 6.5 in the Packers' favour. But the Packers have been pretty lousy at covering the spread. The obvious sort of disadvantage for the Packers is the injuries that we have on offense, with Josh Jacobs. Jalen Reed is still out, and I think every receiver is on the injury report, and some guys. So that's a bit of a pain. But how will the game plan out? Will it play out the sort of how we've seen it, with special teams on both sides, not covering themselves in glory, apart from the field goal kicking unit for the Vikings, and the defense, blitzing a crazy amount? I mean, Jordan Love is a superhero against the blitz. I think his quarterback rating is over 115 against the blitz. He's 1 interception. Everything else is touchdowns and completions. So look, he's really good against this type of pressure, but does he have the offensive firepower, and can they catch the bloody ball when they do get the ball thrown their way? Because he's going to have to make quick decisions, so they need that separation. Let's see. But I wouldn't be deceived into thinking that the Vikings defense are as bad as their stats say that they are. And if there's any game that they're going to step up, it's a divisional game. So look, it's a divisional game. I mean, this happens all the time. There's Brett Favre retirement jersey game against the Bears. The Packers were heavy favourites. We go in and lose that game. I believe we lost twice to the Vikings last year. Now, there's reasons for that, and Sam Darnold being, one of 2 reasons why that was. He played absolutely out of his skin. So the Packers should win it, but will they win it? God knows. Anyway, it's on early enough. On Sunday, we've got the Thanksgiving game, which is again on early. And for anybody asking about the meet-up in Manchester, I let the secret out by also saying that it's not really a secret, in the sense that nothing is properly organised, because when you're trying to deal with venues and logistics and all that kind of jazz, it just takes forever, right? But that game that we would like to have the Manchester meetup for is the one against the Bears in early December. So just eye the calendar, eye the train timetables, have a look at the flights, maybe look at a sneaky hotel if it's free cancellation, because that's what I'm doing, and just hold steady until I actually announce something. But it's nothing at the minute and still needs to be brought along. So anyway, there it is. There's the advance notice. I'm doing what I can. I'm at Steely the NFL. We are at UK Packers, and you are the best goddamn audience to be listening to this podcast. Let's sit down and enjoy the game together at UK Packers on socials, and I'll be back to break down the game straight after the game. And we got a lot of comments in from that one against the Giants to say, I've just stopped watching the game and already there's a podcast out, and all I can say is, you're welcome. Anyway, talk to you then.